and knowledgeable about OSHA standards. In addition, we hope we've been able to prepare you should you ever have to deal with an unexpected visit by an OSHA inspector to your own office. At the beginning of this seminar, you saw a short clip of a mock OSHA inspection. Before we view the rest of this video, I have been asked to remind you that the American Dental Association is always available to you for further information. As part of this information, a comprehensive list of resources will follow the conclusion of our mock OSHA inspection. Thank you for watching.
Oh, yes, that would be much better for us.
A typical inspection might occur something like this.
Good morning. Can I help you?
I believe so. I'm Charles Goodwin from the Occupational Safety and Health Administration Office. May I see Dr. Pratt?
Oh, my goodness, you're an OSHA inspector. Has someone filed a complaint against us?
I'd like to speak with Dr. Pratt, if I may. Is he available right now?
Well, Dr. Pratt is with a patient. I'll see if he can see you.
Legally, an inspector cannot forewarn a dental office of his visit, but the dentist owner should be present during any inspection and accompany the inspector whenever possible.
Dr. Pratt, there's an OSHA inspector here to see you.
I'll be right there. Carolyn, show the inspector into my office. Thanks.
Given these two factors,
Step right
the
this
immediate
way.
availability of the dentist owner might pose a problem. If the dentist is busy, he has the option of asking the inspector to either come back or wait. If arranging a suitable time cannot
If
be
you'll
agreed
just be
upon
seated, Mr.
amicably,
Goodwin, the doctor
the
will be in a
dentist
moment.
does have the right to exercise the option of telling the inspector to come back when he has a warrant. But in this instance, let's assume that Dr. Pratt is able to accommodate the inspector. The opening conference will usually take place in the dentist's private office.
Good morning. Dr. Pratt.
Yes.
Charles Goodwin. I'm from the Occupational Safety and Health Administration.
Nice to meet you. Okay, fine.
At this point, the dentist has an opportunity to see the specific complaints which may have been brought against him.
I'm here to follow up on a complaint that's been filed against you concerning 3 alleged violations of health and safety standards. The complainant alleges that there was a failure to provide the HPV vaccine, failure to provide complete and proper training for cleaning operatories between patients, and finally, that an operatory disinfectant is not EPA accepted as effective against HIV. All of these charges represent failure to comply with the OSHA standard regarding blood-borne pathogens.
This really disturbs me. We're doing all we can to maintain a safe workplace. In fact, my office manager, who's our regulatory compliance manager, is overcautious, if anything, about complying with all the safety regulations.
I'd like to see the office records, if I may. Your exposure control plan, employee medical records, employee training records, hazard communication plan.
Excuse me, I don't understand something. The complaints all seem to involve blood-borne pathogens, so why do you need to see the hazard communication plan? That seems to me to be going beyond the scope of the complaint.
It's our practice to review an employer's hazard communication plan in all workplace inspections.
All right.
At this point, Dr. Pratt has decided to
Carolyn,
allow the inspector to
Did you
review
bring the
areas of
ADA
compliance
regulatory
outside of the
compliance
complaint.
manual right away?
However, he would have the option of informing the inspector
yes,
that he
bring
will
those
not
too.
permit this,
Thanks.
in which case the inspector might or might not seek a warrant for a broader inspection. Well, just from the look of this apparently smoothly running office with its efficient and concerned staff, it's hard to imagine who might have filed a complaint. For the most part, records indicate that dental offices have charges made against them by disgruntled employees, sometimes former employees. And the charges made here are pretty serious. Let's see how Dr. Pratt handles them.
Here's the ADA Regulatory Compliance Manual, Doctor. It's nearly complete, but I am in the process of updating everything. So, here's our employee training records for the last 2 years, and our employee medical records. And the binder with the MSDS sheets. So we have everything in one place or another.
Thank you, Carolyn.
While the inspector looks at the records, now's a good time to offer some words of encouragement in the unlikely event you are subject to an inspection. Inspectors are usually industrial hygienists, not dental experts. Keep in mind, you are the expert on dentistry. This is the time to ask questions and ascertain the exact nature of the complaint. You are free to challenge a complaint or explain alternate office procedures which comply with required standards.
Your records seem to indicate that everybody presently employed in your office has been vaccinated.
We offer the vaccination to everyone.
Oh, wait a minute, I just thought about something. Could I see that for a minute, please? Thank you. Here we are. The only person lacking a vaccination was that young woman who worked for us part-time. She didn't show up on about 2 occasions for her scheduled vaccination, and then she said she didn't want one. But here's the form that indicates she refused the offer voluntarily.
Thank you.
She also used to complain that we didn't do things the way they did on her old job. Finally had to let her go because of a high rate of absenteeism. I felt bad for her, but she said she needed the job. We could never count on her being here when we needed her, so we really had no choice. Is she the one who made the complaint?
I'm sorry, I can't tell you that. Complainants are guaranteed anonymity by law.
The dentist is, of course, forbidden by law to retaliate against the complainant.
All right, I think that'll be fine. Now, I'd like to look at the room where you store your chemicals and cleaners.
Fine. Let's go.
The accuracy of the regulatory compliance records often will set the tone for the rest of the inspection. In this instance, the office manager has kept excellent records. In addition, the dentist's and office manager's attitude in the opening conference helped as well. They were cooperative and courteous, but firm in expressing their views and protecting their rights. In the sterilization room, the office manager is confident that all containers with hazardous chemicals are properly labeled, that all disinfectants and sterilizing solutions bear an EPA registration number, and that the Sharps container is appropriate.
That's listed.
The inspector is concerned especially with the disinfectant in question. And of course, he's not going to ignore any possible violation, even if it's not on the original complaint.
I noticed you have a Sharps container here in the sterilization room. Shouldn't your Sharps container be in a more accessible place, like the operatory?
Oh, we have them just like that one in all the operatories.
Oh, yes, always.
Well, I'd like to see an operatory next. And I want to clarify a few points on training and the cleaning solutions that you use. I'll need to interview one of your dental assistants in private.
Well, Violet handles all our training and all our operatory cleaning procedures.
I'll get her, Doctor.
We'll be in the operatory. Tell her to come in there.
Okay.
In order to protect patient privacy, the inspection of an operatory should only be accomplished if it is unoccupied or with the consent of the patient. When this inspector's walkthrough of the operatory is complete, he will go on to interview the dental assistant. OSHA has the right to interview a representative number of employees, but the employees are also free to decline to speak with the inspector or to have the employer sit in on the interview, as we are about to see.
I noticed there are no plastic covers on the light handles here.
That's right, there aren't. That's because we use the wipe-down method. These are cleaned in between each patient use and then again at night.
Notice that Dr. Pratt courteously challenges the inspector. Covers for light handles are not required, they are optional. Dr. Pratt knows best what works well in his office. Dr. Pratt was correct in his action.
Yes, Doctor?
Oh, Violet, this is Inspector Goodwin of OSHA. And this is Violet Sims, our long-term dental assistant.
Miss Sims, I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. Is there someplace that we can talk in private?
Oh, well, if you don't mind, I'd kind of like to have Dr. Pratt stay. I mean, I didn't make any complaints, and I'd like to have him hear what I'm saying.
That's your option as well.
Oh, good.
Violet, either way is fine with me. Let's go to my office.
It's important to note here concerning an employee interview that an employee has the right to a private and confidential one if they so wish. Here the inspector questions Violet about the vaccination procedure, training, and he might even question her about their emergency evacuation plan. And of course, he'll want to question her about the disinfectant.
What about an emergency evacuation plan? Do you have something in writing?
Excuse me, why are you asking about this? It wasn't in the complaint against us.
It is our practice to review employee emergency evacuation plans in all workplace inspections.
The fire department trained our entire staff on emergency evacuation procedure just last month.
Yes, and they gave us a certificate.
Okay, and now could I see your MSDS on your disinfectant?
Oh, it should be in the binder with all the others. Let me find it for you.
Our supplier is always guaranteed this solution to be extremely effective against all bloodborne pathogens, including AIDS.
It's not here. And it should be. I'll have to search for it. Oh, gosh.
We'll get it to you. It may be misplaced, but we have it.
Okay, thank you, Miss Sims.
An inspector might check to see that some general safety measures are up to standard. Here he satisfies himself that the lunch area is isolated from patient care areas. He tries the emergency exit door and checks for well-marked exit signs, making notes as he does so.
Now, just one final question. I didn't see your employee rights poster anywhere. Where is that posted?
Oh, well, I thought I put it right. No, I was going to put it right over... Well, where is it? There it is. Is that where it should be? I could have sworn I put it up when I got our ADA manual. I'll put it up right away.
Okay, I think I'm just about ready to conduct a closing conference with you to talk about my findings, Dr. Pratt. Can we go back into your private office again?
Absolutely.
In a closing conference, the inspector will explain his findings and the potential penalties, explain the dentist's rights and responsibilities, explain the procedure for responding to any citations that might be issued. The dentist is, of course, free to challenge the citations. The inspector will note any comments that the dentist might like to offer in defense of his office policies.
Well, Dr. Pratt, overall, you've got a good exposure control plan and general employee safety procedures. I'd say it's obvious that you and your staff are attempting to cooperate with federal safety and health standards.
We absolutely are.
I can commend your office manager on her records. They've helped to establish that 2 of the complaints filed against you are unfounded. The records show that every one of your employees was offered the HPV vaccine and that every one of them was trained properly.
Good, good.
However, until your office can produce an MSDS and an EPA registration number for the disinfectant that you use, that may be considered a violation. And of course, you have a minor violation in not having your employee rights poster clearly visible in an area that all your employees habitually frequent.
Well, sir, the employee poster is probably being hung as we speak, and I have no doubt that we can produce the necessary documentation for our disinfectant. But what happens now?
Well, I have to turn in a written report to my area director, and then a decision will be made whether to issue any citations, which will be mailed to you in several weeks from the OSHA area office. Now, you can't miss it. It'll come certified mail. Each citation will be listed separately and will state whether there's a fine involved, what you must do to correct the violation, and the amount of time you have to make the corrections. And there'll be a booklet outlining your rights and responsibilities in case you want to contest.
All right. Is that all?
For me, yes. Now, before I go, do you have any other questions or comments? I can include them in my report.
No, I don't think so.
Thank you, Doctor. I appreciate your cooperation.
Well, much to the relief of the dentist and his staff, the inspection is over. But not really. The dentist will probably receive 2 citations on separate sheets, one for the missing MSDS and one for not displaying the employee rights poster with a cover letter and his rights booklet, all looking something like this. Once the citations are received, the dentist might have anywhere from several days to several weeks to comply unless the dentist contests. Failure to comply may result in a more serious violation with heavier fines if the dentist is inspected again. The dentist can file a notice of contest within 15 working days of receiving the written citations if he feels he's been dealt with unfairly. But most important, the dentist can and absolutely should visit OSHA for an informal conference where the dentist has an opportunity to negotiate with OSHA for a lower fine. What happened to our dentist? He was able to prove that his disinfectant met EPA standards. His office manager found the missing MSDS sheet accidentally misplaced in the sterilization room, and a letter from the manufacturer substantiating the acceptability of the disinfectant provided additional substantial proof. The charge, potentially a serious one, was dropped when the dentist visited the OSHA office with these documents. We hope this simulation has served to give you some insight as to what an actual inspection might be like for you. The important things to remember here are: make sure you have obtained the OSHA Bloodborne Pathogen Standard and Hazard Communication Standard. They are available through your local or regional OSHA office. Review them carefully and have copies available for your employees to review. Keep accurate, thorough, detailed records and try to keep them all in the same place. If you are inspected, don't assume guilt. Remember that you are the dental expert. Feel free to ask questions, raise objections, and challenge complaints courteously but firmly. Keep in mind that you have the right to object if the inspector goes beyond the scope of the complaint. If you are cited, consider setting up an informal conference date with the area director of OSHA. Fines can be negotiated when such a meeting occurs. It is important to keep in mind that you, an informed practitioner, are making every effort to comply with government regulations and that no employee in your office is getting hurt. And remember, your ADA is always here to provide you with information and assistance whenever you need it. The following materials are available through the American Dental Association catalog. To order, please dial 1-800-947-4746. ADA Regulatory Compliance Manual. OSHA's Bloodborne Pathogen Standard, Questions and Answers. Answers to your legal questions about OSHA. Infection Control in the Dental Environment. Safety and Infection Control Monograph. Facts about AIDS for the dental team. The following list of materials are available through OSHA.